What if the reason some people rise faster than everyone around them has nothing to do with talent, luck, intelligence, or even hard work? What if their greatest advantage is something far simpler? Silence. Think about that for a moment. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the people who often move the fastest are the ones who speak the least, while others are constantly explaining themselves, defending themselves, arguing with strangers, seeking validation. The silent person is quietly building, quietly growing, quietly transforming, and by the time the world notices, they are already far ahead. Why does this happen? Why do some of the most successful people seem so calm, so reserved, and so unaffected by the noise around them? And what did Buddhist monks discover centuries ago about silence that modern society is only beginning to understand? Stay with me until the end, because the final affirmation sequence may completely change the way you see silence forever. Let's begin with a truth that many people never realize. Most people are exhausted, not because life is difficult, but because their minds never stop talking. From the moment they wake up until the moment they fall asleep, an endless conversation continues inside their heads. What do people think about me? What if I fail? What if I make the wrong decision? Why did they say that? How can I prove myself? How can I get people to notice me? The mind becomes crowded, and a crowded mind struggles to see clearly. Imagine trying to see your reflection in a lake during a storm. The water is moving too much. The surface is disturbed. The reflection becomes distorted. Now imagine the lake becoming still. Suddenly everything becomes clear. Monks discovered that the human mind works exactly the same way. Clarity appears when inner noise disappears, and silence is one of the fastest ways to reduce that noise. There is an ancient story about a young monk who traveled to a famous master. The young monk was ambitious. He wanted wisdom. He wanted success. He wanted enlightenment. Most importantly, he wanted answers. When he arrived, he spoke endlessly. He described his problems, his dreams, his fears, his opinions, his plans. For hours, he talked without stopping. The master listened patiently. Then he poured tea into a cup. The tea reached the top, but he continued pouring. The cup overflowed. Tea spilled everywhere. The young monk quickly said, "Master, stop! The cup is already full." The master smiled. "Exactly. Your mind is the same. How can I give you wisdom when you are already full? What a powerful lesson. Most people want answers, but few create space for answers to arrive. The mind is already overflowing with opinions, worries, distractions, and noise. And because of this, wisdom struggles to enter. The first secret of silent people is that silence creates space. Space for clarity, space for insight, space for better decisions, space for growth. And growth always happens faster when the mind becomes clear. Think about the biggest mistakes people make. Many happen because of emotional reactions, angry words, impulsive decisions, unnecessary arguments, hasty judgments. The silent person often avoids these traps, not because they are smarter, but because silence gives them time to observe, time to think, time to respond rather than react. The monks understood something extraordinary. Reaction is weakness. Response is power. Reaction is automatic. Response is conscious. Reaction is emotional. Response is wise, and silence is the bridge between the two. Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful? The loudest person is often trying to prove something, trying to convince others, trying to gain attention, trying to be seen. But truly powerful people rarely need to announce their power. The mountain does not tell you it is tall. The ocean does not tell you it is deep. The sun does not tell you it is bright. Their presence speaks for itself. The same is true for people. Silent people often focus less on appearances and more on substance. While others are talking about what they will do, they are doing it. While others are seeking attention, they are developing skills. While others are chasing approval, they are building confidence. And this creates a remarkable advantage, because energy that is not spent talking can be invested in growth. Think about how much energy people waste trying to explain themselves, trying to defend themselves, trying to win arguments, trying to make everyone understand them. Monks rarely play this game. They understand that not everyone needs to understand you. Not everyone needs to agree with you. Not everyone needs to approve of your path. The moment you stop seeking validation from others, enormous amounts of energy return to you. Energy that can be invested into your goals, your healing, your purpose, your growth. This becomes the first principle of silent success. Protect your energy. Because where energy goes, life follows. If your energy constantly flows toward drama, conflict, comparison, and approval seeking, your growth slows down. But when that energy is redirected inward, transformation begins. Before we continue, I want to guide you through a brief exercise. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Imagine yourself standing beside a calm lake at sunrise. The water is perfectly still, the air feels peaceful, the world feels quiet. Now imagine every worry in your life becoming a ripple on the surface of the lake. Notice how the ripples gradually slow down. Notice how the water begins becoming calm again. Notice how clarity begins returning. Now silently repeat. I do not need to rush. I do not need to prove myself. I trust my journey. I trust my growth. I allow silence to strengthen me. Take another slow breath, and another. Feel the stillness. Feel the peace. Because this stillness is where wisdom begins. And in the next section, you will discover why silent people often attract more opportunities, more respect, and more success than those who constantly seek attention. There is another reason silent people often move ahead faster than everyone else, and most people completely overlook it. Silence makes you observant. Think about how most conversations happen. While one person is speaking, the other person is not really listening. They are preparing their next response, preparing their next opinion, preparing their next argument. Their attention is focused inward rather than outward, but silent people develop a different skill. They learn to observe. They notice details others miss. They notice patterns. They notice emotions. They notice opportunities, and opportunities often appear first to those who are paying attention. There is an old Buddhist saying, "When the mind becomes quiet, reality begins to speak." What does that mean? It means life is constantly offering lessons, constantly offering guidance, constantly revealing opportunities. But if the mind is too noisy, those messages are easily missed. Imagine walking through a forest. If dozens of people are shouting around you, you may never hear the birds singing. You may never hear the wind moving through the trees. You may never notice the beauty surrounding you. Yet the moment silence appears, everything becomes clearer. Life works the same way. The answers you seek are often already present, but they are hidden beneath noise. This is why many monks spend time in silence, not because they are avoiding the world, but because they are learning to hear it more clearly. And this creates a remarkable advantage, because success often depends on seeing what others cannot see. The businessman who notices an opportunity before everyone else. The artist who notices beauty, others overlook. The leader who notices problems before they become disasters. The investor who notices trends before they become obvious. Observation creates advantage, and silence strengthens observation. But there is another secret hidden inside silence, a secret connected to respect. Most people spend enormous amounts of energy trying to earn respect. They try to impress others. They try to appear successful. They try to convince people of their value. Yet the harder they try, the more difficult it becomes. Why? Because true respect cannot be demanded. It must be earned. And one of the fastest ways to earn respect is through self-control. Think about the people you admire most. Are they constantly arguing, constantly complaining, constantly seeking attention? Probably not. The people we respect most often possess a quiet confidence. They do not feel the need to react to everything. They do not feel the need to prove themselves to everyone. They remain grounded, centered, calm, and this calmness creates influence. Monks understand something extraordinary. The person who controls their emotions is more powerful than the person who controls other people. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can react. Anyone can become defensive. But remaining calm when emotions rise, that requires mastery, and mastery always attracts respect. There is a story about a monk who was repeatedly insulted by a wealthy merchant. Day after day, the merchant mocked him, criticized him, humiliated him, yet the monk never reacted. One day, the merchant finally asked, "Why do you never respond?" The monk smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The merchant replied, "The person who offered it." The monk nodded. "Then I have simply refused your gift." Those words changed the merchant forever because he realized that the monk possessed something he did not. Inner control. The merchant was controlled by every emotion. The monk was controlled by none, and that is why silence becomes power. Not because silence makes you passive, but because silence prevents others from controlling your emotional state. Imagine how much suffering disappears when you stop reacting to every criticism, every insult, every opinion, every piece of negativity. Imagine how much energy returns to you. Imagine how much peace returns to you. Imagine how much focus returns to you. This is one of the reasons silent people often succeed faster. Their energy remains available. While others are trapped in endless emotional battles, they continue moving forward. There is also a powerful connection between silence and manifestation. Many people speak constantly about what they want, the goals they will achieve, the success they will create, the dreams they will pursue. Yet often very little action follows. Monks discovered that talking about a goal can sometimes create the illusion of progress. The mind receives a small reward simply for discussing it, and because of that reward, motivation decreases. Silent people often take the opposite approach. They spend less time talking and more time doing. They allow results to speak for them, and results are far more convincing than words. Think about a seed planted beneath the ground. For weeks, nothing appears. No one sees growth. No one sees progress. Yet beneath the surface, transformation is happening, roots are forming, strength is developing, life is preparing itself. Then one day the plant emerges. The same process often happens in successful lives. The greatest transformations usually happen in silence. No applause, no attention, no audience, just consistent growth. Day after day, moment after moment. This is why many monks teach a simple principle: grow quietly. Let your actions create the noise. Imagine where your life could be 1 year from now if you stopped announcing every plan and simply focused on execution. How much progress could you make? How much energy could you save? How much confidence could you build? Because confidence grows through evidence, not through talking, not through explaining, not through convincing others. Through action. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens confidence. Every step forward strengthens confidence. Every challenge overcome strengthens confidence. And eventually, you no longer need approval from others because your own experience has become proof. Before we continue, take a slow breath. Allow your shoulders to relax. Allow your mind to become still. Imagine yourself walking through a peaceful bamboo forest. The air is cool. The path is quiet. Sunlight filters gently through the leaves. With every step, the noise of the world becomes more distant. The opinions, the judgments, the distractions, the pressure, all fading away, and in their place, a deeper sense of clarity begins to emerge. Now silently repeat, I do not need constant validation. I trust my path. I trust my growth. I allow my actions to speak for me. I become stronger in silence. Take another breath, and another. Feel the calmness. Feel the confidence. Feel the quiet power growing within you.